Our Innovation Summit 2018 coverage is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. Learn about all the included benefits and get a 30-day free trial by going to PLUGHITZ.live.com/prime and by audiobooks.com. Get a 30-day trial and a free audiobook to keep by going to audiobooks.com and using promo code TRY70. Our next guest is here. Hello.
Hi. I'm Brady from the Electrathon of Tampa Bay. I am an executive board member, recently added. I started back in high school racing the cars. I was in my computer class and just noticed the go-kart kind of sitting in the class, and I thought it was kind of interesting, so that's kind of how I got into this.
Okay.
So your class was in high school?
It was Tampa Bay Tech, right
Tampa
here.
Bay Tech? Okay.
That's a school that when I worked with Fox 13 used to be.
Oh, yes.
Used to be involved in our show. I have no idea today. That was a long time ago. Anyway, so we had a rep on at Gulf Coast MakerCon.
Correct. Yeah, I just saw that interview not long ago, and he's actually downstairs right now.
Fantastic.
Wow.
So, for those who may not have seen it, go ahead and explain what Electrathon of Tampa Bay is.
Okay, so Electrathon of Tampa Bay is an organization promoting STEM growth of renewable resources through Electrathon racing. Pretty much we build an electric go-kart, essentially, and we have these students race it. The students design, build, and manufacture these cars. I built my own. It took about 6 to 8 months. Right now it's running on lead-acid batteries, but I'm getting ready to convert that over to lithium. We do have a lithium.
That'll save a lot of weight.
Save a lot of weight. It drops about 60 pounds in weight, and it will run a whole lot longer than the 60 minutes that we race.
Okay.
Right now, a lot of the high schools only run lead acid because it is cheaper, but you can see that they're crawling at the end of the race compared to the other adults and college classes that have the money to spend on lithium, and they're just blowing by everyone.
Yeah. Lithium ion or lithium polymer are like a class
of its own.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Totally different than lead acid stuff.
And they're cheaper ultimately too, because right now our Optima batteries are about $200 a piece, and you need 2 of them to run one race. That's $400. Then you need another set for your second race. That's another $400.
Okay.
Whereas my whole lithium setup costs me $600, and I don't have to change out batteries in between races.
Okay.
I can charge my lithium in between the 2 hours that we have between the 2 races.
Understood. And you save weight.
Right, exactly.
So all around a better.
Which will make them more efficient because it's not trying to drag more weight around.
Right.
How does the organization work? How do teams work? What is the goal of the race? Because it's not exactly the same as a race per se.
Right. No, you're absolutely correct. Well, pretty much we run a 1-hour race. We try and do as many laps on that one set of batteries as we can. So it's longevity. We try and get the most efficiency out of our batteries. So you have to think about the weight of the car. The weight of the driver has to be 180 pounds. There's a lot of rules that try and keep everyone in the same arena.
Okay.
But there's always ways that you can kind of go around that. Like driver. You can find a driver that weighs only 180 pounds, which is what the rule book states. If you have a driver that's 250 pounds, that's just more weight that you're going to have to tug along.
Sure.
And then same thing with the lithium. I mean, if you decide to go to that class, it's a 60-pound reduction. The design of your car, if your car is 50 pounds more than the car next to you, that's another issue.
Sure.
So those are all things that you have to think about when designing and building your race car. Now, as far as the organization and how it works, right now we're trying to expand that into the high schools. There is a curriculum right now in the science field, and Wharton High School in Tampa is the one that came up with that curriculum.
Okay.
So we are implementing that. We've got about 15 high schools right now racing in our circuit here in the Tampa Bay area. We are expanding that through the colleges. We have 5 or 6 at the moment. We're trying to get Florida Poly on right now. Yes. And
as we look at a Florida Poly student.
Are we? Really?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, we've actually talked to a few professors there. They just got their accreditation, so they're trying to make sure that all of their T's and I's are dotted, so, stuff like that. But we are hoping to get them on in the next year or so for sure.
Awesome.
We're also branching out into St. Pete right now as well to get more high schools there because we don't have many. Right now our name is the Electrathon of Tampa Bay. We're looking to expand that to the entire state of Florida. We have teams down in Miami. We have teams in Cocoa and teams in Pensacola. It's time to bring them all together and race statewide. There's also teams in California, Texas, the Northeast. There is an Electrathon of America. We are just umbrellas underneath.
Okay.
Right now, at the end of April, we're getting ready to venture out into Pensacola, Alabama, and Georgia for races as well. So we're expanding our sport, and I'm very glad of that.
That's really cool. So the rules on how the game is played happens from outside.
Correct.
And then the way the world here works is what you guys.
Right. So
Okay.
the Electrathon of America is pretty bent on lead acid batteries. They don't like us using lithium because there is a risk factor in lithium batteries as far as catching on fire
Sure.
if they're not charged properly.
Sure.
You've heard about the cell phone batteries exploding, all of that fun stuff. The Electrathon of Tampa Bay, that's old. Lead acid is so old. It's such old technology. They used that in the first cars that they ever made. It's time to teach these kids some new things.
I was going to say, I think even the EV vehicles that were publicly sold transitioned from lead acid
Correct.
to lithium in 2001.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
I seem to remember Toyota and the company that's not around anymore, Saturn.
Saturn. Yes.
Transitioning in '99, they came out
Right.
lead acid,
so
but they went to the lithium ion pretty quick.
Correct.
Because they're stupid heavy.
They are really heavy. And that, even Tesla. That's what Teslas are using now.
Yeah.
Lithium ion. So
Of course.
why not go with what the best are using?
Yeah. If that's where the industry is, why are we
Why not
teaching
teach it?
on something older?
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So that's what the Electrathon of Tampa Bay is trying to push for right now.
And what is the competition like and the timelines and stuff associated with that?
Okay, so we run about 9 races a year. It's pretty much one a month. We usually get to the track at about 8 a.m. First race starts at 10, so you have a few hours to register, make sure everything's good to go on the car. You run your first race until about 11, then we have a 2-hour lunch period where we fix the car, get our new set of batteries in there, take a nice little break, and then at 1 o'clock, we run another 1-hour race till 2. Then we do our award ceremony, and we're out of there by 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Okay.
It's not too bad.
And what are the standards?
If only the schedule for a first event worked like that.
Exactly.
Out of there by 3 on a Saturday. Oh.
And what are the standards other than the batteries associated with?
So the car can only be 4 foot wide. It's only allowed to be 12 foot long. There's about a 90-page rule book. Batteries have to be mounted, so if in case of rollover,
You don't have acid all over the place.
Right,
Yeah.
roll cage. They have to be sealed, so you can't have ones where you add water that can leak out.
Okay.
You have to have a roll cage. You have to be fully clothed, closed-toed shoes, helmet,
Okay.
gloves, all that fun stuff, yeah. We've had cars roll over. No major injuries, thank God. It happens, but, not all designs are perfect, so this is where the students kind of figure out, hey, my car can roll over because I didn't design it properly, so now I have to take this corner a little bit slower than, said, the others who have a wider wheelbase and can zoom on by.
Or my distribution of weight is wrong. It's
right. Yeah,
maybe it's too high or too off to a side or something like that.
Usually 4 feet wide, you're not going to roll it. And I can take a 90-degree turn at full speed in my vehicle. Thank God. I did race another team's car. I believe it was Brandon High School's. It was a long, narrow car. I did put it on its side.
Okay.
So what is your role associated with this?
Community outreach. I am an executive board member, but I do a lot of events outside to kind of bring interest to this sport.
Okay.
So that's another thing. I do lead my own team. I used to race it in high school. I am still at HCC, but I'm not part of their Electrathon team. I've let them kind of be. I do have my own car that I got from high school that I built, so I'm kind of racing that in the open class by myself and a few kids that I know from outside.
Okay.
But I'm just really trying to promote the sport with the board of Electrathon before anything.
And how are you working to promote that?
I was just at MacDill Air Force Base last Wednesday for a STEM event here today, which I'm very excited about. I was really nervous, I'm not going to lie, talking in front of all of these people, but it's been a great event. I've met a lot of people, got a lot of business cards, and hopefully we can expand this into St. Pete. I've been talking to the STEM director of St. Pete and the STEM director of Hillsborough County as well. So we're really getting a lot of interest locally, and that's really helping our race schedule. We actually have to widen our tracks and make them longer because we have so many cars now.
Okay.
That used to not be the case. We used to have 6 or 7 cars, whereas now at USF's Engineering Expo we had 20.
Oof.
So a big competition.
It was a big competition, and those turns got tight because there was other cars squeezing their way in.
Ooh.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
So that adds a whole different
It does.
element to the game.
Absolutely.
When you're having to deal with that many cars on the track.
Correct, yeah. And a lot of people try and strategize. We actually had an incident where Middleton and Brandon High School were racing for the points championship last year, and we had some Middleton cars blocking Brandon, and that's against the rules, but strategy. It happens when you get that many people out there.
Sure. Yeah, if you've got that many cars on the track.
Yes.
In this case, my guess is not, but it could be on accident.
It could be on accident. When it's caught on a drone video, though, it's kind of like, hey. But it's really cool. We've got a couple cars with GoPros. We've had some drone footage of our races, and just seeing that aspect of the sport really excites me.
Sure. Yeah, that's because getting that view is so.
It is
so unique. We had the opportunity at Roboticon last year to see the first robotics competition field from direct to down.
Really,
and it's the first time I've ever really gotten that view of it. I've been all over these fields.
That's
but
awesome.
You understand the motion a little differently when you see it straight down like that.
Right.
And how did you get involved with, like, in the beginning when you first started racing?
So yeah, I was sitting in my high school class. It was a computer class at the time, and I saw this car sitting in the corner. And come to find out, my teacher was actually the sponsor of that club. Okay. So I began to talk to him a little bit about it. There was already a vice president and a president to the club. I started talking to them. It was a lot of outside work. It wasn't just you using school time to be able to work on that, because that wasn't the case. You got one month or one period out of the month for club to work on the car, which was maybe 1 hour, which was nowhere near enough to get it ready for the race. So after school, going to each other's houses, taking the car home, working on it for hours, making sure that everything was nice and tight. That was a lot of my time back in high school, building the car. I've built another one since, and I'm designing a new one at the moment. Right, yeah, I'm pretty much taking the design that I have now, and I'm cutting a bunch of weight off of it, going with a full lithium setup, a different hub motor, trying to raise it up a little bit because it's scraping on the ground at the moment.
Oh.
It's too low.
That doesn't make things better.
No, that doesn't help your efficiency at all.
No.
So you really learned a lot from this organization?
A lot of mechanical. I wasn't very mechanically inclined, but I was very electrical. So that really put 2 and 2 together to be able to do the electrical side of the car, but yet also do the work on it. I'm not very good at metal fabricating, but I became good quick.
Okay. I was kind of in the same boat when I got into first. I understood the electrical, I understood the software side, but gear ratios and I don't know.
brakes.
I do now, but
suspension. I knew nothing of the sort. I didn't work on cars before. I played video games and I fixed computers, and now I do both.
Fair enough. So, as far as future outreach, do you have more events coming up that you're going to be at?
I'm going to be at a STEM event in St. Pete on April the 28th. Laura Spence, the STEM director, has invited us to, so I'm looking forward to that. I believe that's going to be at the USF campus in St. Pete.
Okay.
Right. She wanted to put us right in front of the bull, so we'll see. I'm going to take some good pictures with that.
I was going to say, that sounds like a photo opportunity.
It is going to be a photo opportunity. Maybe I'll get on their webpage.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
Tag the right people?
I mean, I'm going to be going to USF in a few years, so it'd be a foot in the door.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like to get to their cybersecurity field.
Nice.
That's what I'm studying.
Oh, really? Nice. Congratulations. Florida Poly was a school I was trying to get into.
Yeah.
That's cool. So 9 races a season.
Correct.
And where do those take place? Like, obviously, it can't take place in a small location.
No.
You've got to have space for this.
Correct.
Because, a little loop's not going to get the job done.
No, you're right. Pretty much we have to take a full parking lot in a lot of cases, and we caution tape it off, and we'll make a road course out of it, a closed circuit, and we'll just go around. Now, the next race on April the 14th will be at Brandon High School. It will be around their track and field. However, it will not be a 1-hour longevity race. This will be the first time this year, second time that they've ever done it, speed race. So it's going to be a 20-minute, go as fast as you can, do as many laps as you can. So I'm getting ready to go home tonight, actually, and re-gear my car to go as fast as I can get it to go.
Okay. Interesting.
USF has had their car at 85. I can assure you they will not be going 85 around that track. But I will be gearing mine for about 45, hopefully 50 if I can do it right.
A high school track is not really shaped.
Not on a bicycle rim and tire to be going 85.
Right. So that means that basically every race, your track is going to be different.
Every race.
Okay.
So you have to account for that.
You do. Yep. I've had to change my gear ratio per race to find what my best efficiency is going to be. I usually gear it slower for USF because that is the hardest road course of the year. So you're not trying to go full speed into all those tight turns. But then there's other tracks that are more or less kind of an oval with a few slight turns that I just try and go as fast as I can.
Okay. So USF is Rainbow Road.
Oh, my gosh. That is the track that everybody wants to race at. It is the biggest one of the year. You have the Engineering Expo right behind us. You have thousands and thousands of people spectating, and it is the best road course of the year, I promise.
Okay.
Every February.
Interesting. So is the course, like at USF, is the course physically the same every year, or does the shape change from season to season?
It's been the same for the past couple of years.
Okay.
Pretty much the first race you'll run clockwise, the second race you'll run counterclockwise. So it does change a little bit. They want to
keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Kind of messes with the brain
a
little bit.
You can't just stay with the same thing.
It is physically demanding. The turns are hard. We don't have power steering in these cars.
Right.
So it's all upper body.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. But some of the other courses may change
absolutely
season to season.
So
do you have a heads up on what the course is going to look like?
Yes,
do you get to see it more than that hour and a half before you're on the field?
Pretty much they send us a picture of it, and they line it out with red and yellow and blue lines. And, this is where the pit area will be. This is the make of the track, and this is the line you're going to follow.
Okay.
And until that day, you don't get to see the dips in the track or how exactly tight that turn's going to be.
That was what I was going to ask.
But we do get practice laps before the first and the second race, so at least your drivers can get out there and kind of get a feel for what lane they want to take and how to miss those dips.
And how long in advance do you get that schematic?
It's about a month before.
Okay.
Yeah, so they try and at least give us that.
Okay.
Keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, for sure. Because even if the shape of the USF track is the same, that doesn't mean that somebody didn't bottom out in the parking lot and tear up the asphalt between last year and this year.
Correct.
So there's new imperfections and weirdnesses in the asphalt that all factors into it.
It really does.
Oh.
It really does.
Do high school students compete with college students as well?
At the same time. Even adults that race it as a hobby. We have people 50, 60 years old that build these cars. It's open. Yeah, we all race on the same track at the same time. That way at the end of the first race, those older people can kind of mentor those college students, hey, this is something you should work on. This is how you fix that. It's a great setup. We're actually, though, debating because we have so many teams now, we're either going to have to make the tracks bigger, which could be an issue finding venues for that, or we're going to have to set it up to where high schools race amongst themselves, and then your college and adults race together, just to kind of separate the field because there's so many cars, which is good. I'm not.
It's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have, but it does take that mentoring away because then the adults are on the track while the high schools are in the pits. The high schools are on the track while they're in the pits.
Yeah.
And vice versa. We're talking about that as a board on how to work with that. But at the moment, everyone is on the same track at the same time.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So if somebody wants to maybe start a team or find out where your next race is going to be or any of that, how can they do that?
Well, we have a website. It's www.electrathonoftampabay.com or .org, excuse me. You can go on there. It has our entire race schedule. Another thing that you can do is if you'd like to start a team, there's an email and a phone number on that website. Please give them a call. It'll be to one of our board members. I believe it is Freddie Beck. And then she will lead you in the direction of who to talk to. We have 2 extra loaner cars right now, which we're looking to give to other high schools or colleges to kind of help start up a team. And then at that point, they can start designing and building their own car.
What a great idea. The idea of having an extra one of these cars is
to my knowledge, we have 2 at the moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, great. We definitely appreciate you coming and talking to us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad. We've gotten to talk to the organization a number of times over the years, and I'm so glad to see that it's not just sustaining, it's growing. That's
the progress it's made has been quite substantial.
Yeah, it's a great thing to see because
thank you.
I really love the idea.
We really appreciate you having us.
Absolutely.
All righty.
Have a good rest of the day.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.